What's up, everybody? It's an NFC East show, and this is going to be a long one because we're splitting duties here with J and B Talking Shop. We're doing 2 hours today talking about football, so people are going to start coming in as we go along here. But right now, I got Sneaky G Man and
Yeah, what's
myself
going on, everybody?
and we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Roku TV, all part of the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. It's been a minute. What's going on?
It has been a minute. But as always, it's good to be back. Got a lot to talk about. True. What's up, man?
There we go. Look at
Um,
that. Now, I told you they'd be showing up slowly. We're all
Oh
coming.
man,
Obviously, we're doing a new time here, Wednesdays at 7, because football season is upon us.
yes,
And right
sir.
now, like I said, it's going to be hard to be able to travel and get to where we got to get to and then still be able to do a show on Monday night. So, literally, we're doing it on Wednesday nights now. What's up, guys? Are you ready
Nothing
for some
much.
football? Are you ready for some
Oh
football?
yes. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Um, Jamie, can you do the one option where it spreads us out? Because my big head is taking the whole camera right now.
I think that was hysterical. I was keeping that. I was keeping it right there just because
Oh
of
my
that.
God. It's like right here. Oh, goodness.
So
Go
what's
ahead.
up, guys? What are you guys doing? What has been going on? It's been a few weeks since we've been on this. I feel like it's been a month.
It's been about a couple weeks now. I since then I've saw True one time up in Dallas. Saw Stephen A. Smith and Michael Irvin, and that was a good experience. And a lot of training camp. A lot of people got cut. That I was surprised to. That was surprised that got cut. And like you said, we're like, so what, 7 days? Tomorrow will be a week exactly before the Rams play. Who they play again? Is it Buffalo?
Buffalo.
Yeah, Rams play Buffalo next week to kick off the season. I can't wait. I cannot
Yeah.
wait.
And I'm going to be heading up right after our show next week. I'm heading up to Detroit. Detroit Rock City.
All right. Have you ever been in that stadium before?
I have. Last year I went to that stadium and
Oh,
we
that's right.
spanked them like 46 to 6 or something like that. It was something ridiculous.
I love the fact. So I've been watching their Hard Knocks Life, and I love how that show makes you root for the players. How you hope they get a roster spot. I really appreciate how HBO pulls that off, and we'll see next week. I know next week is the season finale, but I am looking forward to watching it, seeing who actually makes the team. Although we'll have some kind of inkling. And all you got to do is go on their site and you'll see who got cut and who did it. But I'm gonna hold the suspense and wait till next week. So that's my 2 cents. What about you, True?
oh, just staying busy and looking at the roster moves that were made today after the cuts from yesterday because we had cut both quarterbacks. And
I saw that.
They cleared waivers and now they're back on the practice squad. So the quarterback situation still hasn't been handled. We're still missing our left tackle. I think Tyler Smith is going to be moving over there with the absence of Tyron Smith. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to be working out here in the next 10 days.
Yeah, we actually the Davis Webb, one of the guys that performed really well in the preseason, got cut, but he came off waivers and he's now on the practice squad. Another standout, Roche, is also on the practice squad as well. Although I was hoping to see Bachman. I mean, Bachman was one of the top receivers that made a lot of plays during the preseason. He was the leading, receiver, if you will. But no, as far as I see, he's not being picked up. And I think hopefully the Giants aren't completely moving on, but obviously, if Bachman gets an opportunity, he's going to have to take it. So
Yeah.
as long as it's not Dallas, he won't be dead to me. If he goes to Dallas, he's dead to me, completely dead. If he goes to Philly, he's only halfway dead. So to me.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movement I'm seeing around the NFL, even including the Eagles, what they're signing from the Saints?
Yeah, you did a trade with the Saints, Jamie?
Yes, we did a big trade for he's going to probably be our starting safety. He is the name is just escaping me right this second.
Yep,
I should be a little
it's
bit
on the
more
tip of my
prepared,
tongue too.
but I'm sitting here and I'm watching us that there was a show that we weren't sure whether it was going to come on or not today on Roku, and it came on. So like it just bumped us off. So I switched us up real fast. So sorry, I wound up in the process. But anyways, he's going to be our starting safety. He's actually he's gotten, I think he's had started 30 games, 161 tackles, 3 interceptions, 28 deflected passes. So should be something worthwhile moving on. We also got rid of Jalen Reagor today for, a couple of picks that could de-escalate. So if he stinks there, then the picks will get worse, which I've never heard of before, but I find that interesting.
So now, to be honest, Jamie, and I want to ask you this.
But the first thing I got to see is that it's possible that Jason Peters, they're saying they're bringing Jason Peters into your camp in Dallas. Talking about people being dead. That would be dead to me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's fair to say that as an Eagles fan, you have high expectations for this year, correct?
My expectations haven't changed. I feel more confident now in the choices, and the decisions that I've made. Saying that I think that the Eagles are going to go 11-6. They could go as high as 13-4, but a lot would have to happen correctly for that to really be the case. So I can't guarantee that that's going to happen, but I do think that we go. I do think that that's going to be the best record in the East.
Well, my question for you is: did you happen to see the TikTok that I did?
Which one?
The one where you said that the Eagles are going to make the NFC Championship?
No, actually, I'll be honest with you, Sneaky. Every time you want to show that guy, I'm not going to pay attention. So every time you show that picture, I'm not going to pay attention. And that's realistically,
that's fine. I mean, if you think that's going to stop me from showing that guy, no.
Well, but I know that you have that. I'm just not going to feed into your fetish with that type of stuff.
I don't have a fetish. I don't even know why the guy ate horse shit in the first place. It baffles my, and the fact that his friends cheered him on. That's another thing that blows my mind. And the fact that I keep showing it over and over again, and it gets under your skin, it's working. Because that's what it's supposed to do. It doesn't get under my skin.
I don't pay attention to it.
Exactly.
So if you show it, it dismisses everything else that you might have said. But if it's something worthwhile, but again, when you got to continue to go with this
action right there, that action right there does exactly what I want it to do. And that's exactly what I want.
Which means that it takes you away from my page because I don't look at your content anymore.
And that's fine. And that's fine. And why?
That's a bummer. That's a real bummer, ain't it? I mean, we're in this to show content, but you keep going back to the same well over and over and over again.
Because the well never goes dry. That's why. That's why I keep showing that. So now, because I believe, and the reason why I showed that picture was because you were talking some mess. That's the only reason why I showed that picture.
Yeah,
and the mess that I was saying is that you,
and ultimately, all I was saying is that we're putting the. And what I said, correct?
Yeah, you did on my end. You broke up a little bit. Yeah, you said that you guys were going to the NFC Championship game. So then I proposed a bet, and I also said, don't say the beard because that's not going to happen. Don't do a cop out. Okay, let's bet a hat, and I got the 2 hats right here. If your team makes it to the NFC Championship game, makes it. They don't have to win it because you just said make it. That's all you
Yes, I
said.
don't think. I don't think they will win it. To be honest, I
But you
mean,
did
right
say,
now, right at this second, that's what I think. I think that they could take a pretty big jump in the playoffs, and that they could make the NFC Championship game.
and that would be the bet right there.
Yeah, but I want odds on that. Then I absolutely want odds.
What do you mean you want odds? You said it. I'm
I
just
know what
confirming
I
what you
said.
said.
I
It
know what I
okay?
said, but I also understand gambling. And if you want to only give me, it's I get to the NFC Championship game or nothing. Well, then of course I want odds on that because I'm a real gambler. If we're going to gamble, so yes, I would definitely. Not only would I want a whole bunch of other stuff, you know what I mean? Like I said, you'd have to give me odds. I'm not just going to bet a hat. That's it. Come on now. Come on now. That's
That's
ridiculous.
that's
That's
what the
like
bet
saying,
is.
well, see, that doesn't make any sense for me to make that bet.
Well, so then again, for me, if for you not to take a simple bet of saying of what you said your team making the NFC Championship game, in my mind, I'm thinking you don't believe that your team will make the NFC Championship game
No,
because you won't take. It's a simple bet.
I'm not
It's a
betting
simple.
just
It's a
because I'm
simple
not betting
gentleman's
with
bet.
you.
That's all it is. It's
But
a
it's not a
simple
gentleman's bet.
bet.
You
It
you are
is.
you are saying, okay, I'm going to bet you $10 they don't make it. Okay, it's
Exactly.
like saying,
Actually, it's 25. The hat's 25. To be fair,
all right, so there you go, $25. It's
yeah.
$25 that they don't make it.
Either they make it or they don't. I
I
mean,
would bet the $25 if I was to make a $25 bet right now on any site that the Eagles were going to make the NFC Championship game. I probably win back about 150 to $200.
but see,
Correct?
you're dealing.
Correct.
Yeah, I
That
don't
we're
know.
talking
I
bets,
guess
right?
so. But see, that's what you're talking. You're talking about Vegas and all that. You're making a bet with a father of three that has two kids in college, and that's paying football.
And I've got two
things with it.
kids.
And so I know,
Look
but
at
I'm
this
just
house.
saying.
You think
I'm,
this
I'm
house
just
isn't?
saying. I do like that piano in the back, by the way. I do like that
Yeah, that
piano.
was a lot of money. It was a lot of money to get
Yeah, I
that
do like
thing.
that piano. But all I'm saying, like I said, $25 to me, that's like $5,000. That's what $25 is to me in this household. So yes, that's why I'm saying it's a simple
See now, if you,
yes or no.
I don't want to put finances on it. What I want you to do is put on a green hula skirt and do a little hula dance and sing the song and remove the picture from your computers.
I like the hat better.
Of course you do.
I like the hat better.
Of course you do. But I stayed away from the beard. You putting on a green hula skirt, like a grass hula skirt,
Yeah, but see, the thing is,
and
it's the hat.
having to do the
It's
Eagles
the hat.
fight
See,
song while
and the thing
doing a
is,
little.
I'm not even going to counter saying this is what I like for you to do because I'm going to stick to my word and say that I don't think you believe your team is going to make it to the NFC Championship game. That's what I'm saying.
And that's your opinion.
And the
You
fact,
are.
well, I mean, I'm
That's
just
the
saying.
perfect thing about America is that you can believe that. You can believe whatever you like.
Well, I mean, in a sense, because you're not taking that back. So true. If you believed your team, I'm gonna throw you. Oh yes, I'm throwing. You can't be quiet forever. True. I'm gonna throw you in this mix.
Oh, I'm fine.
If you were strongly about your team that you're gonna make a run for the NFC Championship game, you would take a simple bet, a simple gentleman's agreement.
Actually, that's one thing I don't do is I don't gamble on my team. I don't bet on my team.
Oh, that's right. You're a Cowboys fan. It's been. I wouldn't either if I were you. I wouldn't either.
I just don't do that for the simple task is I'm a fan of my team and that's it. I will not gamble. I will not bet. I will not place any lines on them.
Well, that's the difference though. Gambling and betting, it's okay. It's the same word, but it's different because we're amongst friends here. We're not like gambling thousands or hundreds or even maybe tens of dollars, right? But it's simple. It's simple.
Well, I get it. I'm not one to partake in any of that.
So and really all it is like, and what I'm saying is that you can't expect anybody to say, okay, like if you were to say, hey, listen, we'll make the bet at over 10.5 wins. So I get 11 wins or don't get 11 wins, then that in itself is a better bet. You are saying, I mean, there could be a lot of things that happened
Agreed.
they could get to 2 rounds of the playoffs. It would be a very successful season by crushing it, doing whatever. And some fluke thing happened in that one game, and they don't make it to the NFC Championship game. You know what I mean? And that's very feasible. So can I foresee that? No, I can't foresee that one play. But if I made a bet on that, if I bet $10, my luck likely that I would probably win $125. That's what my thought would
Well,
be.
well, that's because you have multiple people betting on the same thing or whatnot. Now, again,
No,
that's like
it's just me making the bet saying that, hey, I got to get to the NFC Championship game. You're talking about getting to the Final Four in football, and I
right.
think that they're going to do it. Does that mean if I'm going to gamble on it, I want odds?
So, and the thing, so it kind of goes along with what I say with my team, like with the Giants. I always say we're going 17-0, right? But I won't bet on that. And I make that known right up front because damn well everybody and their mom be like, you want to make a bet? You want to make a bet? And then of course, if I say no, I get called out on it. So, so now, I'll change the subject real quick.
So I have, if you don't mind, before we do this.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to start this off real quickly. This gentleman who I'm about to bring on, was just inducted into the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, and I wanted to congratulate him. He sent a whole bunch of pictures. Him, Eric Dickerson, and George Foreman all were inducted this past week. Our own Byron Williams.
Oh, what's up, Byron? Congratulations, man.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Man, I tell you what, life is great. Hey, you know what? I'm happy because football is getting ready to get kicked off.
There you go. Congrats on the on getting in there, bud.
Yeah. It's basically just hanging out with the right people, like I'm hanging out with you guys. Good things happen.
If you could, I guess explain to us like the process of it. I mean, was there any campaigning? I mean, of course they know who you are and what you've accomplished, but I guess what's the process?
Well, it was actually 4 years ago. It's the Texas Black Sports Hall of Fame. If you grew up in Texas and you mostly Texas rooted guys get inducted into it, and they have a big museum over in Dallas at the Fair Park, and your picture and everything is always in there. Every year they have different classes of guys go in there. I think last year Michael Irvin went in. But if you do community activities, give back. Of course, George Foreman and Eric Dickerson and those guys speak for themselves. It's just I just do what I do. I do a lot of things in the community with kids. Been doing football camps, going to schools, helping the needies, playing in a lot of tournaments, helping supporting nonprofits, things like that. And then, of course, I've been in the leadership part of the NFLPA now for over 13 years, helping former players and helping them navigate their livelihood, as well as helping them with the healthcare issues and anything related to, restructured surgeries and hip replacements and things like that. Nice. I've been very active and engaged in those type of activities.
Well, that's what I'm talking. Congratulations. That's a big deal. Right. That's a big deal.
That's a good lineup right there of what you just said.
And of course, lately I've been coaching Jeffcoat, so.
He's a lot of coaching.
I understand, though, that he has been doing much better at golfing than you have lately. That his golf swing is just amazing.
I tell you what, I'll take anybody bet any day. If you want to bet on Jim versus me, I'll take you up on that.
See, and we were just talking about gambling. We were just talking about making bets.
Talking about that. So you were talking about the upcoming season. Now, of course, with our beloved Giants, are you surprised of? Well, let me change the question around a little bit. What cuts were you surprised that the Giants made this year?
Well, really, I wasn't surprised about cuts. I'm more surprised about how the team gonna buy into the new coaches and the new structure and the style of play that they should be playing. I think they'll make drastic improvement. I think it's a 3-part thing that you have to stay focused on. It's the offensive component, it's a special team component, and a defense component. And those things have to fit into the vision of the team. And of course, Brian Daboll is doing a great job. I think he came in and got the mindset of the players on the right path. And I like that. But for his players, there's always going to be about 15 to 20 players that you got to have interchangeable parts. And then, of course, the injuries and things like that is a consistent factor that happened throughout the year. But one of the things too, the Giants' problem was leadership. Who's their leaders? Who is it in the locker room that's gonna speak out and speak up and make sure everybody's getting what they need to get? And that goes a long way. And they lost 4 or 5 games because they didn't have that last year. So I just think if they can get some of that type of intangible consistency back into that locker room, then I think they have a better chance. And they was in almost every game last year.
Yes, yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the leadership role. I know on the offensive side of the ball, the elected captains were Jones, Barkley, and Thomas. Defensive side of the ball, I know Xavier McKinney, Leonard Williams, and I can't think of
Martinez. Did he make
it?
it?
No, Blake didn't get it. I don't think. I'll have to double check. I know Gano for special teams. And Love, he was the one that got most of the votes. Apparently, what DeBall said got the votes on defense and offense, so they made him a coach or a captain as well. Yeah, I'm buying into this system. I mean, I think right now we have no choice as a Giants fan. We can only come up from here.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, well, you ain't got a choice.
We ain't got a choice. We got to come up from here.
I do want to say this. I thought it was you could tell that the Jets had to win the game. They did everything in their power to win it. They wanted to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was, that's what the Jets do. They want to win the game. But I thought the Giants played a much better game than the Jets, and they should have won that last game. But it doesn't matter. Preseason doesn't matter no way. But my point is, you have to have momentum going into the season. And I think that's what the Jets were playing for. They were playing for the momentum going into the season, and that's the only thing that I saw in this last week game. But I thought the Giants played really well. I saw some things that they're doing that going to help them along the way. So that's what I was happy to see.
I saw a lot of improvements.
But if that was the case, wouldn't Baltimore be like Super Bowl champions every year?
Baltimore got a formula, and I think the formula is working for them in preseason. That's what I like about Baltimore.
Yeah, but so the funny thing is, when we beat the Patriots in the preseason at work, somebody came up to me and like, "Congratulations, I beat the Patriots." You do know it's preseason, right? It doesn't matter. It does even when the Cowboys lost to what was it, the Broncos,
right?
People come in, you're happy that they lost. That's preseason. But next week, for moving forward, I can't wait. I mean, I understand why you're probably shaking your head. I mean, a win is a win. I get it, but
I 100% agree with you. I never pay attention to preseason.
Right.
I mean, somebody like I started to get, the haters always love talking to me. They love talking to me. And I had a whole bunch of people come on and say, about the Dolphins kicking your butt. I'm like, do you think
I saw that
they care? Do we care? Do I care?
Yeah.
Even the slightest bit? Like, not even the slightest bit.
I'm
come
not
on
lie.
now. Yeah, you guys care about winning that game, and that's awesome. I appreciate that. I'm gonna record and watch over and over again Michael Irvin talk about how the Eagles are going to be a dynasty. That's exactly what I'm going to listen to over and over and over and over again.
One of the things you can go back throughout the history of the game and see how many people who played real well in the preseason won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, not that many.
Yeah. That just goes to show you the preseason game is not meant for and it don't gauge anything or predict anything for the season goes. It doesn't.
No, The one thing I am going to say about the preseason though is you're able to maybe find that diamond in the rough with the player, and that's exactly
Victor
what
Cruz.
we
You can
found
find
out.
that Victor Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We just we didn't discover, but he was USFL, but Turpin on kick returns. You see him coming up through the ranks, and he's a Texas kid as well. So that's the one thing I do like watching about preseason is seeing the discoveries that are made between players.
That's exactly right. That's a good point.
I mean, and that's another thing about the preseason, kind of adding on to what you said, TruBlu, is the only way that you're going to understand situational awareness or game time situational awareness is if you're in the game.
Yep.
And Byron, I mentioned Hard Knocks with Detroit this year. The fact that, the way HBO puts on that type of show, it makes you root for those players. It makes you root for those guys to make the team. I'm thinking of the quarterback for Detroit. I don't know if anybody has been watching that show. It emphasizes on every down is important. Every down counts. You have an opportunity. You need to make that opportunity. And to root on a player and to see him be successful throughout and still not make the team. That's crazy. I mean, I don't know if he made the team or not. I'm actually alluding to Davis Webb, how he had an outstanding preseason, but he still didn't make the 53-man roster. I mean, and then Alex Bachman. I mean, the man went off. He didn't get as many receptions against the Jets, but just the way he played and the way Davis played and still not make the 53-man roster, it's one of those tough choices that I'm glad I'm not Dable or Joe Shane.
Well, Dan Campbell said, this is the hardest part of coaching.
Yeah.
When you have to make the 53-man roster, when you have to make the changes. But another thing about that, you also find out the true texture of the players that you have on your team. If they're going to be able to fold up under pressure or what.
Right.
And that was one of the things that he kept saying. He said, this guy will make the team, or this guy is still on that line of not making it. And that's one thing. And another thing, too, that I like about preseason, when guys come out of college, they really see the true meaning of playing in the National Football League. It's a whole different level. The speed of the game and everything else, and the consistency of making sure that you're on the right, you're not messing up on your assignments. Drop balls. Every drop ball is a key factor. Little things like that, that's where you find out really if you really made for football.
Yeah, and that's leading more into that. Seeing this preseason, the players on the sideline not knowing when to go in, during the rotations.
Right.
I mean, there's players out there that actually got cut because they weren't paying attention to what was going on the sideline to know when they needed to go in. So it's every bit as important to make sure to know when you're going to go in as, your assignment on the field. Because if a coach has to look at you twice, I can be wrong, but if he looks at you twice, it's one too many times.
I know. I see the time or two when a guy supposed to be out on the punt team, but he didn't get out there. And
Exactly
man,
right.
Coach shake his head. They don't let him back out on the field. Guess what? He's gone. He's out. He know he's cut. You got to know your assignments. You got to know what team you're on. You got to know the depth chart if somebody went down. I mean, every little intimate part of the game, you better know.
Yeah, and
I got to figure. I don't mean to cut you off. I got to figure that is probably the most important thing. That's what you're there to figure out and know. You better know all that stuff, because if you pay attention to those details and don't ever have that problem, they will trust you with bigger details.
Yep. And a prime example of that is none other than Terrell Davis from the Broncos, who was on the special teams, who was making those hits during preseason, who got elevated up, and look where he's at today in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. And I coach a kid that played with Cleveland this year. He was the defensive MVP of the USFL. His name is Chris Odom. His dad and I are best friend. We coached him all the way up. And he went into the game, this Cleveland Brown game this last week. In the third play of the game, he tore his ACL.
Oh.
And he was the defensive player at the USFL. And they put him on injured reserve. But my point is, That's how this game is. It's a small, it's a small tweak here, small tweak there from being and not being a part of a team or being injured, having an opportunity. So, I tell guys, you really got to count your blessings if you get an opportunity to play in the National Football League.
So
Yep.
Byron, you've been in this process where of course you played with the Giants and you were on the team, and the next day you realized somebody was gone, right? They were cut. Now, have you ever been in a situation where you got close to someone, a teammate that you wanted to help, bring up, show the ropes, and then, next thing you know it, he's gone. And of course, I'm not trying to age you. This is before cell phones and before all that, so for them to say, hey, I didn't make it. Thank you for everything, blah, blah, blah. Have you had those kind of friendships?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And was it tough? I know that's a silly question, but I just want to hear your point of view of it.
I think it's really tough for the player because you know what they're going through. You've seen it. You've seen it time and time again. It's a part of the game, and some guys can take it harder than other guys.
Right.
And so it's a level of maturity. It's also a level of you knowing who you are. But some guys can take it well. Some guys make the transition. Now some guys, it's hard on them. They want to they want to commit suicide. They think that this is all that they have. They've been fighting for this all their life. So it's really tough on a lot of guys. But the 53-man roster is something special, and you got to know every aspect of it. The good thing about this time in frame time is that you got 14 to 15 players on the practice roster.
Right.
You still can be around on that team. So that means that there's about 70 guys. You start off with 90. That's still about 70 guys can be a part of the team. But it's a revolving door when you're on that practice roster too, because injuries come into effect, and you bring in every week. Teams bring certain players to their organization, and they look at them on a Tuesday. Tuesday is the day off for all the NFL players, but not for the personnel and not for people that's injured or replace a player or add a player to the roster. That Tuesday is that day that's designated to fill those gaps. And so they have this board of players, a pool of players that they're all constantly looking at, and they're calling you all throughout the week and say, we might want to fly you in Sunday. You'd be surprised what's going on behind the scene, because it's a big business, but the business work, and they've been consistently proven the way they use their pool of players versus injuries, things like that happen during the season. So they got, last year they had a pool of players that I think they stayed in Indianapolis because of the COVID situation, and they kept these players in shape, and they kept them isolated so they won't get the COVID situation. So they would go into Indianapolis and get these pool of players. All 32 teams was able to do that. So there's a lot of things that goes on behind the scene that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, and it goes in further than back from when you were playing to now. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but the evaluation process now involves a lot more coaching staff from what it was back then. And I think that plays a part into it, because now you have these coaches that are, certain. You got the linebacker coach, you got the tight end coach, you've got all these different coaches that are evaluating the players and then putting them up there on the board, just like the draft process.
Exactly.
To see who's going to stay and who's going to go. And I think it makes it that much harder on which 53 players are going to be staying and which ones are going to be placed on the practice squad.
It's TruBlu, you're exactly right, because my first year, it was 28 teams. It was 48 men on the roster. And then I think in 86 or 7, they added the other 4 teams, and they added it up to 53-man team. But back then, we didn't have an offensive guard coach, offensive tackle coach. So you got an offensive coordinator. So now you got the middle linebacker coach. You got outside linebacker coaches. You got safety coaches. You got cornerback coaches. You got all these different coaches. Now they don't split up. They done added some extra coaches to the personnel department, right? So now it's more specialized. It's more tweaking, and more it's specific in detail on everything and every aspect of the game. So you're actually right. They used to just have one special team coach. Now they got multiple special team coaches. You got the punt, you got the kick, you got the return team, you got all these special coaches, and then it's more specific detail in every little thing that they do now.
Yeah, and to include on that, besides the coaching staff, is the AI that's being used on